Why does a narcissist suddenly shift from charm to cruelty the moment you start changing? Why do they grow more manipulative, not less, as you reclaim your voice and stand in your truth? Carl Jung once said that true transformation doesn't just disturb the person evolving, it shakes the very foundation of those who relied on your weakness to keep control. And no one fears this more than the narcissist. It's not rejection or abandonment that terrifies them most. It's the moment you become strong enough that they no longer own you. That moment is their unraveling. But don't expect them to walk away quietly. No, that's when they strike with what Jung's insights reveal as one final, carefully crafted form of manipulation. Before we continue, make sure you're subscribed to the Mental Dose channel. And consider joining our Telegram community for early access to videos like this and deeper dives into spiritual and psychological mastery. Now, let's look at what happens when a narcissist senses they're losing control, and why their final tactic can be the most destructive of all. Carl Jung saw the human psyche as a lifelong dance between the conscious self and the shadow of the hidden, rejected parts of ourselves we refuse to face. For narcissists, the shadow isn't just uncomfortable, it's unbearable. It holds all the things they refuse to be: insecure, inadequate, emotionally empty. And instead of facing that pain, they offload it onto others, usually the people closest to them. As long as you're uncertain, emotionally dependent, or looking to them for validation, you fit perfectly into their world. You carry their shadow for them. But the moment you start pulling yourself back, the moment you say no, draw boundaries, and stop needing their approval, something cracks open. Jung called it individuation, the sacred process of becoming whole. For you, it's healing. For them, it's chaos. Your independence doesn't just annoy them. It threatens the entire illusion of superiority they've built around themselves. And rather than confront their own emotional immaturity, the narcissist will try to drag you back into the role they need you to play, the version of you that made them feel powerful. This isn't about love or closeness anymore. It's about control. And when control slips away, manipulation escalates. If charm doesn't work, narcissists pivot to something darker. They begin to attack the very traits in you that signal growth. This is where Jung's concept of projection reveals its sharpest edge. You're no longer their emotional dumping ground. You become a threat, a living contradiction to the lies they tell themselves. They start turning your evolution against you. If you've learned to stand firm, they call you cold. If you assert your needs, you're selfish. If you speak with clarity, you're controlling or aggressive. These aren't random jabs, they're precision attacks, aimed right at the breakthroughs you've worked hardest to achieve. This tactic, known today as strength shaming, was something Jung understood long before psychology gave it a name. He recognized that when someone's sense of self is built on inflated ego, they can't stand to see in others what they refuse to develop in themselves. So they attack it, and here's where many people stumble. Not because they're weak, but because the narcissist's aim is surgical. Their criticism makes you question whether your strength is actually a flaw. But that doubt is the point. Because if they can't control you with praise, they'll try to dismantle you with shame. And when shame no longer works, they reach for a quieter, more confusing weapon: nostalgia. When criticism fails to pull you back in, the narcissist often softens their tone. They begin rewriting history, painting a rosy picture of the past when things felt right. Jung observed that the unconscious mind struggles to distinguish between past and present, and narcissists exploit that. They try to emotionally drag you back into a version of yourself that could still control. You were so much happier before all this therapy. I miss how close we were before you became so distant. Remember when you used to laugh at my jokes? This isn't real connection. It's nostalgic manipulation. It's not about love. It's about power. It's about planting seeds of doubt in your transformation, hoping you'll question the path you're on. But don't be fooled. They don't miss you. They miss the control. They miss the version of you whose silence kept them comfortable, whose guilt kept them powerful. And if you're not grounded in your growth, this tactic can work, not because it's true, but because it plays on your deepest humanity. You remember the connection. You remember wanting peace. But what they offer isn't peace, it's control dressed as comfort. And when even that fails, they go further. They stop trying to seem right. Now, they want to seem wounded. And this shift is deeply calculated. Jung understood that when people suppress their shadow for too long, they eventually perform, dramatizing their suffering instead of healing it. Suddenly, the narcissist is in crisis. They're overwhelmed, broken, vulnerable. Maybe it's a health scare. Maybe they've lost their job. Maybe a family emergency. And guess what? You're the only one they trust. But here's what makes this tactic especially dangerous. The crisis might be real, but the timing is not. Narcissists are deeply attuned to your emotional triggers, especially guilt and compassion. They remember exactly what makes you drop your boundaries. And when every other method fails, they'll create or exaggerate a crisis to test one thing. Will your empathy override your evolution? Jung called for something he termed differentiated compassion, the ability to care for others without betraying yourself. But the narcissist wants the opposite. They want your help only if it proves you're still willing to surrender your growth. I know you needed space, but this is different. I know you don't lend money, but I'm desperate. Can't you just help me one last time? These aren't simple requests. They are subtle demands, not just for your kindness, but for your submission. And if you give in, the cycle begins again. Carl Jung believed the deepest purpose of the human psyche is to become whole, to move beyond the ego, beyond the shame, and beyond the patterns that keep us small. That's individuation. And every time you say no to these tactics, you affirm your sacred task. You prove your strength isn't just a phase, it's a return to your true self. The narcissist's desperation isn't proof of your cruelty. It's proof they've lost control. And in that loss, they are finally forced to confront the emptiness they've spent a lifetime avoiding. You are not here to fix them. You are not here to shrink back into who you used to be. Your task is to stay awake, stay rooted, stay aligned with the person you're becoming. If this message resonated with you, let us know in the comments. Tell us what part of this spoke to your experience. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Mental Dose for more grounded, psychology-rich content that supports your healing and honors your growth. Until next time, stay aware and stay free. If this video gave you clarity, if it helped you name something you've silently lived through, then don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs this truth, someone who may still be questioning their worth, their strength, or their right to walk away. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Mental Dose. Here, we don't just talk about healing, we honor it. Every week, we dive deeper into the psychology, the shadow, and the soul work that makes lasting transformation possible. Because the more we understand, the less we fall back. And the more we share, the more we rise together.